Hi, grade fours. Today, we are going to learn about numbers that have decimals in them. So we're used to looking at the left of our place value chart. So this number would read 351. But now we're going to start looking at numbers that fall to the right of our place value chart. So this red dot here, that's called a decimal. And today we're going to focus on this place value, which is called the tenths. So I'm going to go on to this slide. Up here, I have a 10 frame. This 10 frame is worth one whole. If this entire 10 frame was shaded in, it would equal one whole. So now I have a picture of a 10 frame down here with some of it colored in. We're going to learn to write the decimal for the piece that's colored in. So my 10 frame, each one of these pieces is a tenth. So if I was writing this as a fraction, I would write 1/10. But I want to learn how to write this as a decimal. So in my ones place, I know I have a 0 because I don't have a whole colored in. I only have a part of my whole. So I'm going to say 0 and I have 1/10 colored in. Look at this one with the green dots. Once again, I know I have 0 wholes because I don't have one whole 10 frame colored in. I'm going to put my decimal point. Now, how many tenths do I have? I have 5 tenths. So this would read 0 and 5 tenths. I don't have a whole piece colored in, and that's why there's a 0 in my one spot, because I don't have one whole, but I do have 5 tenths of my whole. Now, these blocks probably look similar to you. We are used to this rod representing 10. But today, this rod is going to represent 1. So when I look at my small cubes, I know that it takes 10 small cubes to be the same as one rod. So I know that each one of these cubes is 1/10 of my rod because it takes 10 of these to give me one whole rod. So I want you to try to write the decimals for these two pictures and then come back and check. So my first picture, I don't have one whole, so I know there's going to be a 0 in my one spot. And I have 3/10, 0 and 3/10, because each one of these blocks is 1/10 of this whole. The second picture, once again, I have 0 in my one spot because I don't have a whole. I don't have one rod. Each of these cubes are 1/10 because it takes 10 of these cubes to make my whole, 10 pieces to make my whole. So I have 0 and 7/10 because I have 7 tenths. Okay, now here is a flat. We are used to this flat representing 100. But today, I'm telling you that this whole flat represents 1. What do we know about rods and flats? Well, we know that it takes 10 rods to fill up a flat, to be the same as a flat. So each rod is 1/10 of a flat. So if I was to write this as a fraction, I would have 2/10. I have 2 pieces out of my whole. But I want to write this as a fraction, as a decimal. So I'm going to say 0 and my decimal. When I say and, that means there's a decimal there. And 2/10. I have 2 pieces out of my whole. I have 0 and 2/10. This next one over here, you try to write it down and see if your decimal matches mine. Okay, so once again, this represents a whole. So what decimal is represented here? I have 0 and, because I don't have a whole, 4/10. 0 and 4/10. I have 4 pieces out of